All right. Hello, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome to this podcast. We are talking with a guest from South Africa. We're going to find out what it's like to learn English in South Africa. This is part of a podcast series where we talk to people from all over the world about what it's like to learn English in their country. So thank you for joining us. And before we begin, everybody, don't forget to click the subscribe button. And even more important, make sure you also click the bell and select all. It's really important that you click the bell and select all, because if you don't, you won't know when we upload future videos. So make sure subscribe, click the bell, select all, and then you're set. Okay, so let's get started. Welcome to this podcast, and we're going to talk to my friend Asriel here about what it's like to learn English in South Africa. So, welcome, Asriel. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you for having me.
All
Uh,
right. Go ahead. Yeah, how's your
okay.
day?
My day is pretty much good. You know, today I'm day off from work, so I was planning to go out, hang out with some friends, but the weather is kind of like unpredictable. I don't know what
Yes.
we'll see, so I'm just gonna probably stay at home, watch movies.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and have a conversation with us and tell us what it's like to learn English in South Africa. I guess my first question is, um, what is the role of English in South Africa? Is it important? Do people care? I feel like a lot of people speak English in South Africa. Am I right? Tell us.
Yeah. In South Africa, English is very important. You know, it's almost like the official language. You know, people use it in everywhere actually, in schools, business, in the marketplace, so many places. Like I would say, like it's very important to speak English in South Africa, even though we do have our local languages, about 11.
Oh, wow. Uh-huh.
And I mean, there's so many changes in the school system as we are speaking today. But when I was in primary school, like you would start to learn English language, like at in grade 4. But
Oh,
before
okay.
that, it was not. Before you reach grade 4, it's not really important. So, like I hear, like now, it's very important that even other subjects, you before grade 4, you learn in English. So, yeah.
So is English the official language, or it is not the official language, but an important second language?
I would say an important second language because,
Okay.
like I said, we do have like our local languages, and mainly we have Zulu and
Uh-huh.
and Xhosa, like that's mainly spoken in so many parts of South Africa. So yeah,
Would you say that most South Africans can speak English?
yeah. I mean, an average South African will speak English with you, and of course, with a South African accent, you know identified immediately that this person is South African. You
Hmm.
know.
Okay. If so, you guys, the first time you learned English was in the fourth grade. So prior to that, do you remember the first time you encountered English? Was it speaking to a person, or maybe it was from like a TV show or something?
Uh, I remember. That's a very good question. So it's like if I speak to an average South African person now, like they would deny that I'm South African because of my accent, because I don't
Hmm.
sound South African for so many reasons,
Hmm.
which I might mention later on in the
Yeah, tell us later. Yeah.
if
Yes, I
necessary.
am curious. Hmm.
Um, but in my household, like I grew up on American TV shows. It was just American TV shows, American music, you know,
Yeah.
because I had a cousin who was living with us for like almost my whole childhood when I was in South Africa, and he was like Americanized when it comes to
Oh, he's
entertainment.
Americanized. Okay, okay.
Exactly. I don't know if that's a word.
Oh, yes, it is
And
a word. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
and also like the TV shows, like I remember watching with my family shows like Days of Our Lives.
Oh, American soap operas.
Exactly. It,
Yeah.
it was
Uh-huh.
very common in my family, in my household.
Hmm.
And also when I went to nursery school, like when I think I was 3 years old,
Hmm.
and from there on, they used to teach us in English as well.
Hmm.
And then from there, I went to a private primary school. English also, it
Oh,
was
they
big
spoke
there.
English to you at nursery school?
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
it differs. It depends. Like if it's private, if it's kind of like
Mhm.
fancy and stuff like that, there's different levels to it.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you went to a nice, a good nursery school, and so there was some emphasis on English in English education.
Exactly.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
That's the thing.
Hmm.
And yeah, also in primary school, I did not really like start like at grade 4. Like I started before that, you know.
Oh, okay.
And
So
yeah,
the average kid who doesn't go to a private school, they will not study English in school until grade 4. But if you go to a private school, they'll probably start you off sooner.
exactly.
Okay, got it. So in fourth grade, you guys are taught English. Are you taught English along with any other foreign language, or is it just English plus maybe your local language?
No, like before grade 4, right?
Hmm.
You're not learning English as a language. So the other subjects that we are learning or that they are learning, they are not learning those subjects in English.
Hmm.
They're learning those subjects in our local dialects.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, what you're saying is starting fourth grade, everything is taught in English? Is that what you're saying?
Not like everything,
Uh-huh.
but what's really important from grade 4, like we start to learn English as a language,
Hmm.
and also like some subjects are being taught in English from that stage.
Oh, I see. Okay, so beginning fourth grade, not only is English taught as a language, but also they use English to teach a few other subjects as well.
Exactly. So that it can be better also for the students. Like now they're learning English as a language, so it's better for them when they communicate in English in order for
Gotcha.
them to pass the language.
Okay. And did you did you like learning English? Did you like using English when you were a kid? And do kids like using English?
Um, yeah, that's also a good question. Like as a kid, due to the cartoons that we used to watch as kids, from school, we used to watch cartoons in English, so it's something that as a kid you're hearing that you want to talk like that at the end of the day,
Okay.
because it's something that you're watching every day, and after school you're excited to go and watch TV.
Yes, of course.
And guess what you're going to listen when you're watching TV? English.
And so you watch TV shows after school, like cartoons or whatever, and those would be in English, right? They wouldn't be dubbed over or anything. Would they even have subtitles or just
No,
literally
no,
exactly what an American would watch?
no, just literally exactly what Americans would watch.
Oh, so that's really good for you guys then.
Yeah.
Okay, so most kids, I imagine, like watching cartoons, so they're getting exposure pretty early on.
Yep.
Hmm. Great.
That's exactly what happened.
So do kids think of English as a cool either subject or language? They actually like English?
I mean, as kids, yeah. I mean, um, how do I say this? Like for me, before I talk about other kids, I talk personally for me.
Yeah.
Like, I had some cousins, some family members who was living abroad, like in America, and some of them in Europe and stuff like that. So sometime when they used to come to my place,
Hmm.
and the way they spoke, I remember as a kid, I just like sometimes I could not understand, and yeah, I understood English, but not to a certain level, you know. So sometimes, like I remember when I couldn't understand, I got frustrated,
Hmm.
you know. And so yeah, I mean, cause like not only in South Africa, but in most of the African countries, because I have I have had the privilege to travel in some of the countries in Africa. Like there's this, I don't know if it's like a stereotype like that when you're African in Africa, when you speak English, you somehow like you look cool. You know, it's a
Hmm.
cool thing. You know, you listen to English music, you listen to American music. It's a cool thing. You know.
Okay, so good. So English is something that is appreciated. It's not just like, oh, we have to learn it, but it's cool. Okay.
Yeah, it is
And in your
definitely.
case, your motivation was you wanted to understand your friends better and your relatives because they spoke either higher level English or they were Americans.
Yeah, that played also a part,
Hmm.
and also due to like, you know, like my mom would force me like to do my homework after school, but the thing that I was most excited about after school was watching TV.
Uh-huh. Okay.
You know, so like most of the things that I would watch was in English in my household coming up. So that one, and also the music that people were listening in my household was in English, even if I did not understand the music. But I don't know how to describe the psychological effect to it. What's it called? Like if I'm listening to something for a long time, even if I'm not paying attention to it,
Hmm.
but subconsciously, you know, it's gonna, you know,
Yeah. You're absorbing the language passively still.
exactly, you know.
Hmm. You're talking about music like American music or music in English?
American music, music in English. It might not be American, but English music, but mostly American, to be honest.
Like pop music.
My sisters used to listen to R&B.
Oh, okay. Okay.
My mom and my dad, they used to listen to country music. I remember, like
Mm-hmm.
we used to have a lot of this vinyls like Dolly Parton, Kenny Rogers.
Oh, totally pardon. Yeah, yeah,
You
super
know,
American. Yes.
yeah.
It seems like in your household, you guys really consumed a lot of like American content and you guys liked American culture?
We did. I mean, at the same time, we did also watch like at night, like
Hmm.
when we having dinner. You know, after dinner, like everybody, you know, just chilling. My grandma, my mom, my dad used to watch like local shows, like in our local languages every day. That we used to
Hmm.
do that every day. But also the American thing like played a major role actually for me personally.
I think that when you can integrate things like American media into your lifestyle, like it's a part of the way you live, I think you're able to assimilate the language easier and in a more enjoyable way.
Exactly.
Hmm. Um, so you guys have a lot of exposure to American media as kids. Would parents ever, let's say, supplement their kids' English instruction by hiring a private tutor or sending them to an English academy? Are there English academies? Do people do that? Do people pay extra to get their kids more English instruction, or is what they learn at school sufficient?
Most definitely they do pay.
Hmm.
most definitely. Because like you have to understand, like in South Africa, there's some in some places, there's some schools where it's like not predominantly white, but it's just all white,
Hmm.
and that's a fact.
Hmm.
You know,
And so paying for a tutor or for an academy, is this something that is within the reach of the average family, or is it something that's very expensive?
no, it's expensive. Like to an average family, they might pay a tutor not for English, but for other subjects like mathematics, you
Hmm.
know, science, something like that. An average family could because it's something that's really important. Like English, they would not. Yeah, some some fancy people like high class families might go to that extent of paying a tutor for English because they're like English. Why it's not really that important? Like you have to pay money to get a tutor. You know.
Like maybe the instruction they get at school is good enough. They're not going to pay to supplement it.
Exactly, because the thing is like once you when you go to school, like even when you're working in South Africa, like um then you're gonna need English.
Hmm.
Like in the business and the marketing sector, you definitely need English, and that's a fact.
So there's a plenty of opportunity to speak English in South Africa. Like just going out, or, going to the store, you could, or you might encounter English.
Um, in some places, not everywhere actually.
Hmm.
Not everywhere.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay. So, and so the English that you learned in school, was it very grammar based, or was there some emphasis on speaking and sounding natural?
Started like grammar based
Hmm.
because don't forget that we now learning English as a subject. So it's like grammar based grammar. That's like the fundamentals because when you write the exam, you're not gonna speak to anybody. You're just gonna write.
Hmm.
You know.
So coming out of school, let's say when you're let's look back when you were done with high school, were you able to speak English well enough to have a conversation in English comfortably?
Yeah, I could.
Okay. And that was because of school, or that was because you were interested in the language and you watched a lot of TV?
Both.
Okay. Okay. And plus your family also spoke English. They understood English, right?
They understood, but in my family, they were not like speaking English like that. To be honest, like
Not to each other. Okay.
no, not really. But if I'm just trying to be, to troll, like to speak English with my grandma, she'd be like, "Yo, what are you talking about?" Stuff like that. Like it cuss me out.
Yeah, that's not the language. That's not the family language, in other words.
Exactly. That's not really the family language.
Okay, okay, but they understand, like your family members, they understand. Okay, got it. And what else? Okay, so now you don't live in South Africa anymore. Tell us where you live.
I live in Germany right now.
Okay, so day to day, do you speak English in Germany or do you speak German?
Um, yeah. First off, I came to Germany in 2017, right?
Yeah.
And when I first came here, like I did not even know a single German word,
Okay.
and I used to speak in English everywhere I go, like just English.
Hmm.
And the Germans, they're kind of like, not to say hard headed, but sometimes they want you to acknowledge that you're in German. It doesn't matter if you came yesterday. In German, we speak German.
Okay. Yes, that makes
They,
sense.
they, they want you to try it. Less. And then when they finally understand that you can speak German, then they will speak English with you.
Oh, I see. They just want to see effort on your part. Okay.
Exactly. And because, like, yeah, but there's some people I still don't believe, like, they will say to you, no, I don't speak English. But I don't know. In the back of my mind, I'm like, nah, you lying. You speak
I know what you
English.
mean. Yeah, like they just being stubborn. They want you to speak their language.
Exactly.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So yeah, and then I started learning German, and then from there on, um, like with the direction that I was taking, like studying or working, then the more German was needed. So yeah, but it was difficult for me because the more I spoke English, it was like more like a setback because people were like, why are you still speaking English? Even my friends, they're like, no, we are Germans. We speak German. You are learning German. Why are you speaking English with us?
Oh, interesting. Oh,
Mhm.
okay. So you speak German now. You can speak German.
Yes, now I can speak German. Not like 100%, but I can hold a conversation, because like now, currently I'm working for a Swiss telecommunications company, and the majority of the customers they are Swiss. So like Swiss German is different from
Uh-huh. Okay.
German here in Germany. It's kind of like difficult to understand,
Mm-hmm.
because in Switzerland they speak German, they speak French in some parts.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but sometimes the customer will notice like immediately like this person is having problems. Then they'll ask you like, "Do you want me to speak normal German, or you want me to speak in English, or?" Yeah, I'm on the phone. Okay, so yeah, and then some of them speak English, and then I will speak English with them. So yeah, I could say I could speak German. I can hold a conversation. I
Uh-huh.
work like at my workplace. We speak German.
Oh, I see. Okay. So you no longer speak much English day to day in Germany.
No, only
Okay.
when I'm talking with my friends on the phone, or sometimes if I just want also to be stubborn. If I go anywhere, I just like today I'm not feeling like speaking German. I like, oh no, I'm not from here. I just came, like you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, that's always fun. Yeah, yeah. I do that in Italy too. Like sometimes I don't speak Italian. Yeah.
Yeah,
So okay, let's say your English, how would you compare your English to the typical German that you encounter day to day? Would you say you speak English better than most Germans that you come across where you live?
yeah, most definitely,
Okay.
definitely.
So do you think that Germans in Hanover where you live, do you think that their English is English important in where you live in Germany, or they don't really care for English there?
I mean, personally, I feel like the way I perceive them, man, is like they don't care, man. Like, get out of here, you know.
They're not into English. Okay.
You know? But I would
Mhm.
say this though, professionally, for your career, it has a lot of advantages if you speak English and German both.
You need both, right?
It's very important for you, like in your
Right.
career, because
Okay.
some jobs, like if it's a whole lot of candidates that apply for the position, but the position they need somebody to speak English and German. And so if you speak only German, then you have a disadvantage to getting the job.
I see. So okay, maybe tell me if I'm wrong. Whether you need to use English at your job or not, you'll still be a more competitive candidate if you speak both German and English. Is that right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Is that the case also in South Africa?
Yep.
Okay. Got it. But in South Africa, do you think that if you were to work in South Africa at the type of job you're working at, do you think you'll more likely use the local dialect or use English?
English.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Um, okay, great. Oh, and I also want to ask you your accent. So You don't have a South African accent, as you acknowledged. So
Mhm.
what is your accent when you speak English?
That's a good question, bro.
Yeah.
Because
And have you lived in a number of places? That because that might have an influence, right?
the places that I've lived in, I mean, I went to the UK. I spent like what 6 months in 2008, and the places that I've lived long is like I was in Dubai. I used to live in Dubai for like 6 years,
Oh wow. Uh-huh.
and they like, of course, it's an Arabic country. They speak Arabic, but English is well spoken there. I mean, in the business world, like it's just English because like the foreigners, they're more than the local people, you know. So English is the like it's being used more than
Right.
Arabic in Dubai. So yeah, I've
Uh-huh.
lived there, and yeah, even though, but my situation in Dubai, I needed Arabic also because like the rich customers where I was working, some of them they don't speak English. So if you can hold a conversation in Arabic to convince them to spend money in your
Hmm.
business, then you're bound to lose the customers, you know.
I see.
So
You
it
speak
was
Arabic
difficult.
also?
Yeah, I do. Like, I don't know how to read or to write, but I can speak Arabic.
Oh wow, that's great. You're multilingual. That's amazing. Okay.
Yeah, you can say that.
And do you think that's why your accent when you speak English is hard to decipher because you're multilingual, or what is the reason? What is your accent if you were to name it?
Um, from a long time ago, like what I heard from people or what I hear from people, like it there's an American influence to it. Like people sometimes like, "Oh, you American?" No, I'm not. I'm like in my mind, I'll be like, "Man, I wish,"
Hmm.
you know, because like it's sometimes like when I'm speaking with Americans, like when I'm speaking to you, I know that I definitely can tell that this is not how I speak, you know, and I would love to speak like that, but I know that's not how I speak. So in my mind, like when I speak to other people, they're like, "Are you so American? Nah, you're lying to me from a," you know, one time I almost picked up a fight with a guy, like, "Nah, you lying to me. Either you are CIA, why you lying to me that you're not from
Yeah, you're a
America?" I'm
spy.
like,
You're a
bro,
good, you would make a good spy, Asriel, yes.
you know, so yeah, it's more to an American accent.
Uh-huh.
Even though I've, you know, like I said before, the funny thing, I've never been to the States before. I've never been to America before.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's quite interesting.
Okay. You know what? I think that sometimes you do sound American, not necessarily because of the accent. Sometimes, yes, there you do have that accent, but other times it's also the way you respond to things and how you respond to things. I can't really explain it, only that the way you respond to things is very American, and that's sort of like what I always say to people. It's like, um, don't just think about accent if you want to be like a native. Think about how people respond to things, how Americans respond to things. And sometimes you respond in a very American way. So that's why maybe people think that you're American.
Yeah, because also with my experience learning German, you can never really like. No, sometimes I'll be surprised that people like, I don't, I really want to learn the British accent. And somebody's like, what, like 40 years old? Like, bro, do you even know what you're talking about? Like,
Yeah.
and so when they ask me like, how did you learn the accent? Honestly speaking, I don't even know how to explain that to people because I feel like when I try to explain it to them, I'm gonna confuse them because even me myself, like I tried explaining to you in this conversation, but I feel like it's not enough because like where exactly to pinpoint like okay, this is why I picked the American accent because I've never been to America. Like okay, you just listen to American music and watching American TV shows. That's it. No, we don't believe you. You know,
Hmm.
it's not something that people can actually believe. I think.
But that's exactly the reason, though, is because you've consumed so much. American media that however you speak, it comes natural for you. So you're not putting up the American accent. You're not, speaking as an actor would. You're just speaking how you would naturally speak without thinking about it. And that's subconsciously is from the picking up the accent through all that content, all that American content.
Hmm. Yeah,
So,
you know what? Oh, because also at the same time, I feel like because if I speak English with an Indian person, I could tell that's Indian,
mhm.
and I could tell like so many countries, even Nigeria, so many places. But most of those people they don't want to embrace that. Yet
Mhm,
English is
mhm.
not their first language. Like people, they're supposed to know like you from which country by the way you speak English. So some people they feel like nah, it's embarrassing. I sound but acknowledge the first thing this is not your language. It's not your first language. So because like for example like me sometimes people they get confused and then people might try to pick up a fight with me because it's a lot of confusion.
Yeah, because your accent it morphs, it changes. In the context of a few sentences, you might have three accents in there. That's what it is.
Hmm.
You're like a lava lamp. Do you know what a lava lamp is?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, it's
Oh
always kind of
wow.
changing and morphing. That's how your accent is. Yeah, it's very interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah. Okay, so well, Asriel, you've given us a really good idea of what it's like, not only for you to learn English in South Africa, but also generally how it is to learn English in South Africa. So thank you for the conversation. It was really interesting, and it was really nice talking to you, Asriel. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, man. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, of course. And everybody, thank you so much for listening to the end. And please support this video by giving it a thumbs up. We would really appreciate it. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And even more important, please click the bell and select all. That way you'll know when we upload future videos. If you don't select all, YouTube will not show you new videos that we upload. So make sure you click the bell and select all. All right, that's it for now. See you all in the next podcast. Bye bye for now.